There it is. There it is. About fucking time. Alright. 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 So, I'm going over like some free speech stuff and everything like that. How it was and how it is today, thanks to the bullshit of 9/11 and stuff like that, has really messed things up. Let's see. So hopefully everyone's having a good day and stuff like that. Let's see. Morning and night wherever you are. Um, let's see here. Where is it? Let's see, get this going here. Get this. I have a big, huge list of stuff here. Let's put this on here. Yeah. Get that going. Alright. Alright. So, a good amount of stuff has happened with me here. I've had like a neighbor also start shit with me, and it's like he comes up and because I was trying to clean before I get into this. This has to do with freedom of speech and stuff like that and everything. And he said I was being too noisy. He's downstairs. I'm upstairs. And I'm trying to clean the place because I need to keep it clean so I don't get sick as much and everything. And so the TV fell down. All this equipment fell down on the floor. This son of a bitch comes up. And he starts getting pissy with me. I got my machete ready and stuff like that in case he does something stupid and everything. And this happened before. I used to be a lot louder doing work and other things here. And then he started doing some stuff and getting pissy with me and stuff like that. And before I was going to actually pay him money, say here, it's a good fella. It's a good fella type of thing, right? And goes by Italian, starts kicking in here. And he goes, "You need to stop here being too loud." I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, I need to be louder. I need to clean. I need to clean this place. I said, "You need to stop your shit." I said, I need to be as loud as I fucking want and everything. It's like, I just go, fuck you, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck downstairs, stay downstairs, don't come up here again. And anyway, so it's like, I'm telling security about what happened. And I said, he comes up here and does something stupid. I got a machete, I'll kill him. So he'll be dead on a fucking slab if he does something stupid. And that's self-defense. That's like, it's a self-defense type thing. It's also a warning. Keep the fuck away from me. It's like, I don't bother people or anything, but I've had, some of it is also race, due to my race and stuff like that. Some stuff has happened and everything. And it's like, so, I mean, thing is, I don't fuck with people, and I treat people me, then I have every right to disrespect them and everything. I don't go out and search, files, stuff like that, unless I reacted to stuff here and everything. But some people could say that's terroristic speech. No, it's not. There's a big difference. Also, a lot of stuff what I do is venting and stuff like that. Just because I say some people deserve to be shot doesn't mean that, I would go and do it. I'm venting and stuff like that. Keep in mind also, Microsoft and how they fucked up my computer. I think those people should be shot in a lot of ways and dead for fucking up my computer and all my work and my hard drives. I think they deserve it for fucking up my computer. However, I'm not going to go over and shoot them or kill them. No, I'm just venting. There's a difference. And in my day, you could do all this stuff and everything. We could vent, say, I grew up about the Three Stooges as well, and everything. And so a lot of us that have been around Three Stooges, it's a lot of people back in my day, we could say, hey, I would kill this person, or I would murder them and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool, next. Okay, let's move on. It's like people can vent and everything. Nowadays, with the way people are brainwashed, and I think that people could be a lot more violent and stuff. While me, I'm venting other people that I know, and people that know me and stuff like that. And I've lost some subs. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm not here to, I'm not going to change for anybody. Except for maybe the women, sometimes the women in porn that have seen some of my stuff, and stuff like that. There are things I could do better in life, definitely. It's just injustice, and how politicians and people in power treat us, from injustice system that we have and stuff like that. I think there are certain people who deserve to be executed for crimes they commit against us and how they treat us, and how they don't care for us and how they get away with crimes. And the usual Jane and Joes on the streets here, we'd be thrown in jail for stuff that crimes we commit while politicians and people in power get away with it. I was pissed off these shitty ass updates from Microsoft. I just want to kill these guys. I just want to kill them for what they've done. However, I'm not going to do it. There's a big difference. There's stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference. And so, it's called venting. And there's a big difference between venting and going out and doing it. So, capiche, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, this has to do with ICE and stuff like that. There's things with freedom of speech and stuff like that, and how things can be now. And keep in mind, I think a lot of the people, what they've done to ICE, have been shot dead in a lot of ways, attacking them. However, I don't like the government either. I don't. So it's like a yin-yang type of thing. But anyways, let's get to this.
Turning back to that breaking news out of Chicago,
Whoa.
Customs and Border Protection says agents were shot at while conducting an immigration enforcement operation earlier today. Cameras from our Fox affiliate were there in the aftermath of the shooting. That's the video currently on your screen.
Yeah.
There have been weeks of tension in Chicago over the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, amid a legal battle over whether the White House...
Why do these people go out and care about illegals? Most of the people in Chicago, I say, this is the thing, is that there are politicians on the left, and I hate both sides. I don't like Republicans, I don't like Democrats, because they don't give a shit about us when it comes down to it. They don't. And so, the thing is that you have illegals, have human sex trafficking, you have missing children, 300,000, 500,000 kids missing, down across the board. And there's human sex trafficking happening, there's drugs that are being funneled in. And this isn't just about Latinos. You have Koreans, you have Chinese, you have Russians, you have Haitians. Okay, this isn't, what the left is doing is that they're saying this is about race. And they're saying it's about Latinos. And everybody that politicians in Chicago and these other states are also not reporting the crimes that are being committed by illegals. Not all illegals are bad. They're not. I need to put that out there. They're not all bad. And so I need to put that out there as well. But I mean, it's like they're taking all the resources. They're taking our food, SNAP benefits. They're getting Social Security or payments, thousands of dollars for the state. And this is all about how Democrats want to change the voting and how they want to get all these tens of millions of people in here. It's about securing the Democratic vote and stuff like that. And my ancestors, we didn't get anything for free. We didn't get free rent. We didn't get free food. We didn't get free health care like they're getting. And it's not destroying, we're destroying the country. And I'm not some tribal in the, tribal nations. It's not that back east. I don't know which ones. It's back east. It's like Wisconsin, Minnesota, around there or further. I'd like to look into it and stuff like that. And I have a bit of motivation in me. But the thing is, there's a right way to come to this country. Go through the legal process. And also, do not try to change this country. It's on your political, sociological, and religious, opinions. You're supposed to integrate into our country. You're not allowed to come in here and try to change it and stuff like that. Same thing with Europe, New Zealand, and Australia, etc.
House can send the National Guard there.
Yeah.
He has every right to do that. And I'm pissed off at Trump. There's a lot of stuff I hate about Trump. But the reason why I vote for him is to get these fucking illegals out. Community tribe, stuff like that. And of course, you can't win with the media because they're lying to the people. The media is always lying to the people, saying these are innocent people, they have a job. Yeah, you find out that they've committed rape. They're doing human trafficking, sex trafficking of kids and other people and adults, and convicted of murder, stuff like that. The news is lying and saying they were doing nothing wrong whatsoever when they have, and they're criminals and stuff like that. But anyways, Trump has totally pissed me off. Need to get rid of him, put somebody in there that will not let the courts be dictators. And the presidents have the executive power, have the authority to put troops into these places. And I lost all respect for Trump. I've seen this bullshit and everything else.
Acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey is with us. Jonathan,
so they got shot
a
at?
Black Jeep apparently
Yes,
speeds by.
This in
a bunch
Chicago.
of ICE officers. Shots are fired, and the Jeep speeds off.
Yeah.
What's your reaction?
I want to say it would be shocking or something else,
It's
but
really
I feel
not.
like with all of this rhetoric and all this what's been going on in the last several months with this rhetoric, political rhetoric, directed at ICE agents, directed at CBP.
I don't really give a fuck, if you want me to be honest, because they could have arrested all the people on the internet that are saying to shoot the ICE officers and stuff like that. There's people that have been advocating for this for a long time.
This goes into the free speech categories. Like I said, it's changed within the last 25 years a lot and stuff like that. I mean, it's one thing to vent and say that people should be shot and stuff like that, shot and killed or whatever. But when you say I'm going to, that's where you cross the line and stuff like that. Like I said, me venting and stuff like that is a lot different from me going out and doing stuff. People venting say, I just want to kill this person or whatever. You have a right to feel these things. It's a human emotion, where my life been through a lot of abuse. And so I get triggered because I see how government, how this injustice system that we have, innocent people being put in jail sometimes or in prison because they didn't have all the proof or proof was taken out of court and stuff. That me saying that people should be executed or shot for something because injustice is happening versus me saying, I'm going to shoot and kill them or whatever. That's where you cross the line and stuff like that. And so it's like if people say, shoot them, and stuff like that, I mean, you're not supposed to be saying that. That goes against all this other stuff. Of course, me, I've said, that these protesters should be, so these protesters that are committing acts of violence should be shot. So, I mean, we got our they got their opinions, stuff like that, and everything. The thing is, back in the day, and this is how it's usually supposed to work, is that the only time you're supposed to arrest people for saying, shoot this person, kill that person, or whatever, is after the crime. When, keep in mind, when the founders made, freedom of speech, it was absolute. All kinds of speech was permitted. Even the violent kind was permitted because they could have said freedom of speech with exception. The founders could have said that. There was no exception to freedom of speech. They didn't say freedom of speech except for, violence or whatever. And people now have their opinions, I now have mine, and there's going to be speech that I hate, there's going to be speech that other people hate, and the thing is, don't listen to it. Don't listen to the people that are, if you don't like their speech, you don't like mine, don't listen to it. Change the channel. But people have a right to their speech as well, like I said, back when people, could say whatever they wanted, it's just when a crime was committed, that's when you go after them. And that's when you have the FBI, the ATF go after these people. It's after the fact. So as soon as this happens, the FBI has the right to go after these people or say shoot them and arrest them. It's after the fact. Because, I mean, people have the right to say what they want, kind of within reason sometimes, right? And people are saying that I should be counseled, I should be allowed to say what I want. And I think people should be able to say what they want and stuff. It's just, if I'm saying something that people don't like, then I should be ready for people wanting me dead or wanting other people dead for what they said. That's the natural things of human emotion. It's called reality. Reality bites. There's going to be stuff that people are going to want you dead for sometimes when you voice an opinion. You voice, your hate over what's going on in this world. And a lot of people just want to vent and everything. And, people always say this is right way and wrong way. Well, everybody's different too. And, you have, YouTube, their terms of service, you have Gig, you have Rumble, you have all these different for terms of service. And you have to have that there because people are going to sue YouTube and stuff like that. They may be for freedom of speech and all sort of stuff. But they don't want to get sued by families, violence happens. And stuff, so.
And nothing has ever happened to them. So at a certain point, when is the government not responsible for what they're doing? Like, how is it not their fault whenever you have people that are out there they're just making these posts? Just figure out who's making them and just go arrest them. It's so simple. Like, advocating violence for federal officers is against the law.
No,
it's not your First Amendment right
it's
to
not,
do.
It's not advocating. No, it's not, you dumbass. It's not. It's when you cross the line. It's supposed to be when you cross the line. You dumbass. You should know better. You should know the laws better. I mean, kids like him, they come from post 9/11 when, you know, they're trying to circumvent freedom of speech. You have the right to say, yeah, I want these people dead and stuff like that. Now, you cross the line and you say, kill them all, stuff like that and everything. And it's like, this is where, you know, people, you know, have the right to vent and stuff like that. Because it doesn't mean that they're going to kill somebody. It doesn't mean that I am or anything like that. You're putting out the human emotion and stuff like that. And it's not illegal, you dumbass. It's supposed to be after the fact. Like I said, as soon as they commit a crime, that's when you step in. But there's supposed to be a freedom of speech in it, even if you don't like it. Even if I don't like it. There's a lot of stuff people say that I don't like, but that's freedom of speech. That's freedom of speech.
Do that. Everybody knows this who's not retarded. So why are we even putting up with this for even a second? So this is what's so annoying to me, is that, wow, what a big fucking surprise this is happening when you have an entire online ecosystem that is built around goading it into happening.
Listen, like I said, I don't like these people either that are saying what they're saying. But at the same time, there's a lot of government, a lot of people in government that I feel should be executed for doing stuff, for the crimes they're committing against us, like keeping UFOs secret and other crimes, taking money from non-government NGOs and voting certain ways in Congress because they have stocks in different companies and they get, you know, money and they have holdings in companies that Obama okayed in his administration when they passed this bill where, you know, they can take donations from these companies and stuff like that. So I mean, that's the thing. With freedom of speech, it's supposed to be after the fact that crime is committed. And all the time, each side will say, you know, we need to stop, they call it terroristic speech and stuff like that. That's up to a person's opinion. You know, I know a lot of people ain't gonna like that, but I say that that's the way it was made, freedom of speech. The thing is, with technology, with the internet, the power of people's words, and people, like I said, this is a double-edged sword in the tongue, because out of your mouth is the deadliest weapon. What you say is more deadly than a gun is. A lot more deadly, you know, what you say. Knife or machete or whatever. And stuff like that, so.
Not surprising that the level of violence against them has risen, and something like this,
no,
and
it's
even
not.
something worse than this, are bound to happen.
Eventually, what's going to happen is ICE agents are going to start getting killed. And when that happens, it will give Trump the green light to go full tyrant, full authoritarian, and do everything.
But he's stupid. He's smart. Thing is, he's very smart. But he's also very stupid. Like me. I could say that. I could be honest and say I'm very stupid and a big idiot in a lot of things. Other stuff I'm smart on. But it's like when it comes, I keep on saying the Constitution, which most people do not know the Constitution. Alright? People have the right to say what they want, but when a crime is committed, that's when the FBI, Homeland Security, has the right to go through these people, go to all of these, you know, Twitter accounts, social media, or mine, and say, hey, we need to that stuff. Keep in mind, also, law enforcement likes the internet in a lot of ways because then they can do surveillance on us, surveillance, reconnaissance, whatever, and they can find culprits a lot easier. It makes things easier for them as well. And like I said, Trump has full authority. Obama himself said he's not going to let any stupid judge dictate to him how he rules the country. Every president has their executive authority to put troops on the ground with this that's happening. And for me, Trump has already had that green light to do so. And I've lost all this respect because he's letting the courts be dictators. And the courts have no right to, tell the president what to do with this. There's certain things in the Constitution where you have to go through Congress to do things. And there are things that is folded in each presidential powers to use. And
that he wants to do. That is probably what's going to happen. Because people will want that to happen at that point.
Because of the rhetoric and the unfortunate thing is
that's not really, again, it's not a good thing to have like martial law or something like that implemented, because if you think they're not going to do that, you're out of your mind. It's very easy for them to do that. And, the courts say that. Well, who does the military listen to? Who do the police listen to? They're going to listen to who's in power, not the courts. So keep that in mind, too.
Well,
and
like I said, it doesn't know anything about the Constitution, about the executive powers and that each president has. You can say that, hey, he doesn't have authority. Well, all presidents have the authority. It doesn't matter which side. Okay?
It's very, very easy to have happen. And it's a good thing when it's needed. Yes, if you kill a cop, you'll kill anyone. Yes, of course. And so they only need to wait. Yeah, and I think that might be what they're doing. But I think that's a horrible thing, because then you create a precedent of doing this, which is obviously bad. And you're also, in the meantime, putting all of these people's lives at risk because you're using them effectively as bait, right?
These ICE agents are simply doing a job.
ICE needs to shoot back for once. Oh, I've said this before. If anybody, if you shoot
it's not just about doing their job. It's about trying to make this place safer for Americans. And now illegals don't have a right to come over here and totally commit crimes and take our resources, and they're getting housing. Americans, old people getting kicked out of their homes for illegals and stuff like that in different countries in Europe. This is happening. You have the UK as well, Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia. It's a cancer, what migrants are doing unless they do things in a lawful way. And I know people that have migrated here from other countries. They go through the legal process. They're not trying to change America based on religious, sociological, and political reasoning. They integrate into our society to do things the right way versus illegals and other migrants that are not going through the proper legal process. And I'm not just talking about this country, but other countries as well.
Police officer, if you shoot at any federal officer, you should just expect to get shot, right?
Yes,
what are we even talking about here?
They're required to do.
Yeah,
I've had altercations with cops, physical ones and stuff like that. And if I go after a cop or go after a federal person and I start shit and I get in their face and I get into a fight, I expect to get shot. In the old days, these people would have been shot dead. Back in my day, the cops would have us, they would beat your ass up and everything else. Doesn't matter about race either, color has nothing to do with it. I've gotten fucked up by cops before, You should expect to get shot.
These politicians are, elevating themselves, their status within the Democratic Party by essentially tacitly supporting this type of activity.
Then arrest them.
It's a wonder, frankly, that nobody was hurt.
It's a wonder that nobody's arrested. That's the problem. Is that
people would say I'm mentally fucked up too, but this is on a totally different level. You want criminals to run the streets. I mean, how retarded are these people, really? We have illegals committing crimes, rapes, murder, they find out, and molesting little children and everything. And a lot of times the news doesn't report this until, they find out what they're arrested for. And people say, oh, he or she had a job. They were doing their job. It's like, they got arrested for a reason because they committed a crime.
if you want to stop this stuff from happening, see, people like this, all of these annoying, screeching Karens, they'll go home if they know. Do you think this could be an international play by Trump? Genuine question. Intentional play? I don't think so. Honestly, I just think he's doing a bad job. If you want me to be totally honest, I think that he might use it to his advantage. Like, Trump is, I think, kind of good at taking advantage of situations, but he's generally, I would say, not very great at creating a...
Listen, there's stuff I love about Asmongold. He's a sexy beast. He is. And I should censor his face and other people's, but they're sexier than me because it makes me look bad, but just not everybody looks sexier than I do, so it's hard to censor people.
Plan ahead of time. He's good at reacting and, like, kind of... He's good at playing the cards he's dealt, but he's not very good at building a deck, if that makes sense. And I think that's my analysis of it. And overall, you're not going to get these people to get off the streets by explaining to them that the raids are okay and they're justified. What you will get them off the streets with, though, is if there is so much overwhelming force that they know that nothing that they do will do anything. And if they try to touch anybody or do anything or scream at people, they'll get arrested. And that's what needs to happen. The reason why you have all of this escalation...
I should also say that some people that deserve to be shot... No, I'm not saying that protesters should always be shot. No, I'm talking about the ones that are doing this and attacking them and stuff like that because they want criminals running the streets. If it's Americans protesting and getting violent over the injustice of what politicians are doing to us, or, you have, local government, local officials, taking advantage of us and stealing from us, resources from us, taking money from us, stuff like that, then there's a time, where we have the right to rebel. When the founders made the Constitution, there was one that we were going to put in. I related to George Washington. I related to him and to Lyndon Baines Johnson. And there's something that we were going to put in the Constitution. We the people have the right to rebel. We have that right. That's one reason why we have guns. We're supposed to have guns. Is, if they become abusive and totalitarian and, start infringing on our rights, then we have the right to rebel. And the last minute, it's like, nah, we shouldn't put that in there, in the Constitution. And some of them said maybe we should, but obviously it wasn't.
Of violence with ICE agents and everything is because it's allowed to happen. It's allowed to happen by the government. The government could easily crack down on this and start arresting these people, detaining them, and taking them to federal prisons or federal detainment camps, which is what I think they should do. And this isn't for protesters. These are for people that are violent, people who are touching police officers, people that are trying to impede the officers from doing their jobs. Just because you disagree with the law...
Why are these bitches, these piece of shit rats, trying to keep them from, arresting criminals that are committing crimes. Why don't they do that for us when we get arrested? Where are they when we're getting arrested? I don't know. I mean, there's special treatment for illegals that are committing crimes, I guess.
Doesn't mean you just get to stand in the way of a truck and make sure it can't go somewhere. And that's what needs to happen. It's simple obstruction. Yeah, it's so simple. Trump needs to big dick these situations. Exactly.
That's the thing, and I don't know if you realize that's obstruction of justice. If I was doing this and getting in the way of somebody getting arrested, the illegals are getting special treatment here. If this was just a black guy, white guy, or other person on the street, that's getting arrested, nobody gives a shit. It's like, arrest him. The illegals are getting preferential special treatment. It doesn't matter if they're committing crimes, they're going to fight for them and commit acts of violence against ICE and others. And that's just bullshit, and it's like, a lot of ways I think they should all just be shot dead for doing that. I do. Okay? I do. I don't give a fuck. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, if they're doing this in legal process, do it that way. I know people that migrate here from other countries, they go through a legal process. Okay?
You have to scare these people into submission. Because you can't reason a person out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into. None of these people...
The only thing they're know is force. It's like people on the streets, and I come from the streets. You don't get respect unless you use force on them. Otherwise, you're just going to keep on attacking them. They're like bullies. That's what they are. They're bullies. Instead of going against, federal officers and everything. And it's like I keep saying, I hate how people become pussies. And they're good, bad people, law enforcement, and stuff like that. And it's like, back in my day, some ways we need to go back to the old days. But then again, it goes, you go to an extreme though, and it's like, there's the innate thing, you don't want one extreme, you don't want the other either.
Are here because they've logically come to the conclusion that illegal aliens are good for the country. They're all here because they saw some video of a crying little girl and they think that ICE agents are just killing them. That's the reason why. So you can't explain it to them. There's no point in explaining it to them.
Well, the thing is, if I commit a crime, any other American commits a crime, they take our children from us. Because we committed a crime. So I want to hear this bullshit about, getting taken away from their kids. Hopefully your kids, if you don't have the right to bring them here, we're not responsible for them. We're not. We have our own people that are suffering on the streets. That don't have money, don't have food. The illegals are getting free food, free lodging, and stuff like that. Not all are, of course, but our people, Americans are suffering. Illegals are also taking our jobs. I think people that give illegals jobs are Americans should be hanged, in my opinion. I think they should hang for that. Because we need food on the table. We need health care. We need to pay for our bills. Our people come first, others second. That's the way it should be all the time.
You just immediately just crush it. Crush it completely. And any hope that there's anything that you can do to stop this from happening. You take that dream and you put it in the dirt.
Agents had to call in local police. Are they allowed or
Emotions
are they not
don't beat
allowed?
logic, I'm sorry. Well, it's not that they beat logic. It's that you can't reason with people like this. This is one thing that I've learned about people that are religious, for example.
Listen, I'm always honest about how I feel. I can be mentally fucked up about things too, but these people are really, really fucked up in the head about wanting these people on the streets that are committing crimes. There's something really fucked up about that. And some of these people were convicted of rape, molestation, human trafficking, that Kilmar Abrigo guy, that fucking twat guy, and stuff like that. They said he was innocent, he had a job, and come to find out he was involved in a human trafficking ring. He was smuggling humans, making money off of them. And this is the extortion happens with other illegal immigrants that are honest and hardworking are suffering because other illegals that come here, they're trafficking the people, say, hey, you owe us tens of thousands of dollars. It's kind of a bit like how the mafia works and other criminal enterprises, organizations work, where it's like, we'll get you one, but you're owe us money. They hold that over their heads. And they keep them locked up in their homes. They keep them as slaves to do work for them. This is all planned out. From some of these gangs and cartels, they come in here, they traffic people, and then they use them as slaves. There is slavery here in America, in our countries. And these twats here, are saying, hey, well, they need to be saved. Do people not know the crime that's happening? I don't think they give a shit. If I'm committing a crime, rape, murder, whatever, they just say, kill the guy, arrest him, whatever. But for them, save them, God save them. Something fucked up about that.
You're never going to reason a person out of, like, for example, if somebody feels like they lived, they say, oh, Jonah lived in a whale for 3 days, or the Earth is 6,000 years old. You can show them fossils that date back however many years. You can show them stars, and you can talk about the way that light moves, and then the fact that the stars indicate that, the Earth has been here for this long, or anything like that. The universe has been here for this long. You can do everything, but at the end of the day, they never arrived at that conclusion through logic, and they will never leave that conclusion with logic either. You have to meet people where they are. The strongest argument in a lot of cases is not an argument.
Enforce local law and maybe fire back in a situation like this.
Well, they're certainly allowed to defend
Oh, if somebody shoots, you should absolutely shoot them. Yeah, 100%, obviously.
themselves, and also to arrest somebody doing that, because that would be a federal law violation as well.
Well, Trump said that he was pissed that they didn't use lethal force on these people. They should. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And these people are getting away with murder. And it only builds their confidence. It builds them up to do more and more and more and more. You're giving them more power and stuff like that. And it gives politicians more reason to create laws to circumvent freedom of speech and create terroristic speech. And the thing is, that's unconstitutional. Terroristic speech is totally unconstitutional. It's supposed to be, and this goes back to my day as well, before 9/11 and all this shit, and everything. You're supposed to go after people after the crime has been committed, not before. Because you do that, that's just people expressing their opinions and stuff like that. Even if we hate you, if I hate it, or whatever, that's what freedom of speech is about.
It just gets so complicated because you have the locality, of Chicago and Illinois as a whole that are.
You know what I think is probably funny? The fact that the ICE agents probably weren't even the real people that they were shooting at, and I bet it was probably just a shooting that happened in Chicago near ICE agents, and this is probably just a coincidence.
Fighting against
the state of Chicago, you have all this black on black violence, you have gang violence, stuff. There's a lot of murder that happens. There's one, Chicago's, Philadelphia that has the most murders. It was DC until, they put a National Guard over there and stuff. And it's terrible in Chicago. And it's politicians that are fault.
The governments are fighting against the federal government at every step of the way, so they're really not getting the support that they need. And even the local police probably want to support them, but they're not getting the support from their upper level. So it really is just a bad situation. And again, these agents that are out there, these are moms and dads, brothers, sisters, neighbors of so many people, and they're putting their lives on the line, and they're in fact doing what they're supposed to do. And these politicians, it goes so far beyond irresponsible political rhetoric, what's been going on. And it's sad that we're going to have to be either today or down the road on one of these shows talking about some horrible tragedy that in many respects...
Somebody's going to die. It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. I'm actually shocked that it hasn't happened yet.
To be prevented.
That's what I think.
Yeah, because it's a strange time in this country when law enforcement officials not only get criticized for doing their
Your
job.
ancestors came to America illegally? Yep. And how'd that work out for the Native Americans? That's not where I want to be, I'll tell you that.
But, I mean, they've had bricks and paint cans thrown at them in Chicago for trying to pick up illegal immigrants.
Yeah, it's really insane if you think about it.
That's where they should have used lethal force.
They're letting it happen.
And the rhetoric coming against them, they're routinely, as we talk about a lot here, they're routinely compared to Nazis by our highest level politicians, not
People
just
that know nothing about Nazis say that word. They know nothing about what happened, killing 6 million Jews and shit like that. And us older people know a lot more and have known troops that were in World War II. And have seen what has happened there. And, the new generation are pretty stupid and have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to Nazis and what happened.
some fringe politician. So it really does say it's acceptable to resist them and what they're doing, and it's acceptable to harm them if you equate them to Nazis and deal.
Well, I mean, again, if that's the case, then why not just escalate the rhetoric at them too? Like, the people like this will never listen until they're able to feel the consequences of their action. There's never going to be a point where they, okay, well, now we're going to understand this, and it's not, I'm going to get it and figure out what's going on. There's no way that's going to happen. It will always be the same thing every time.
Legitimize everything.
Fight fire with fire? Yeah, exactly.
They're doing, and it's not surprising that certain members of the public are responding this way.
Because then you're proving their point.
They could not pay me enough to be in place. They could not. I mean, they need to be more forceful. They use force a lot more. Anyways, I said that. I do this so people can speak on block. They're not very smart upstairs. And it's like, for me, I know a lot of women in porn, and I've been around porn and stuff like that. Some of the adult business and stuff like that. And how Asmongold and, these stupid idiots at the whatever podcast, it's just, oh God, I hate them. Idiots.
But I want the concession and promise from you that after I'm done.
What I'm saying is they have fixed where they have all these girls on there that don't have much intelligence upstairs, but they have people on the right that have some brains, and they make them look like they crushed the left, because the women from the left and stuff like that, they're, have their ways they want to do things. They have them make them look stupid, and they say, we demolished the left. No, yeah, it's just that. You have it fixed on there. It's fixed to where it makes them look stupid, because you have people on there that don't know how to talk. They don't know about. You make it look dumb.
Done making my attempt, you're going to make yours. And how would you convert me to your worldview? Is that a deal?
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's listen to it.
Got to go right in the mic. Otherwise, I can't hear you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So here would be my pitch. My pitch would be that the society that you have created for us is fucked, and people hate it. They fucking hate it.
Yep.
And that's why you got Donald Trump.
Too.
You got Donald Trump because people hate the fucking society that you feminists have made for them. And here's why.
It's because God.
This is the thing. I've looked around women all my life. I've seen what they've gone through. And these stupid ass guys are only. It's like they want women to be their bitches, pretty much. And me, it's like, I don't like the right, I don't like the left, and stuff like that. And that's the thing, is that I love these guys just want women to be their bitches, go back to women being in the kitchen all the time, and I have no respect for that.
Guys don't like being told what to do. That's the big reason. Fundamentally, if you ever have a rule system and a way of doing things that revolves around telling other people what to do, that's the issue. It's that women come into men's spaces, change them, and then make it mandatory that men's spaces accommodate them while simultaneously never doing any of that themselves. They want to retain their privileges while also taking advantage of the privileges that men have. So they want things to be equal.
Well, I need to explain this. Feminism back in the 60s and 70s is a lot different, and feminism isn't how it is today. I think it's gone to extremes. It's gone out of control, and there needs to be a balance of just do whatever the fuck you want. Who gives a fuck about this piece of shit here, what he says, because they have these podcasts, dude. And they put these girls on there that are not very smart up here, and then they just reel into them, they attack them, and
Equal, but not really equal because they want to maintain the privileges that women have innately in society, right? And so don't tell me what to do, and I won't tell you where to go. Yeah, exactly, right? And so that's not just me. I don't like being told what to do. Yeah, sure, right?
idea what happened in the 60s and 70s is much more experienced in. Me, I have more experience, I'm older as well. And so it's like, it's about just equal rights. Feminism today is totally not about equal rights. It's about forcing agendas, political, sociological agendas, and stuff like that. Where back in the old days, it's about being wild and free and equality, to get paid the same as men, to have, choice, to have a job and not be ridiculed for having a job and, doing what men do and stuff like that. So,
about like some attractive girl, even though it's not even about her directly. It's like all of these rules that these people have created. Why would somebody want to live in a world where you're just getting henpecked to death for just trying to relax with your friends? Why would you want to do that?
I hate it. Because all the things that you consider to be freedom aren't freedoms at all. They're just taking away people's freedoms under the guise of freedom. For instance, if I asked you about gun control, I'm guessing that you would want gun control, right? stricter gun control?
Mildly stricter in the sense that I think people with like significant mental health issues documented should probably not be allowed to have guns.
Curtailing gun control. Okay,
The problem with this dumbass Andrew Wilson is that he's trying to provoke an argument. He's trying to create a problem and stuff. Let me see here. That's gonna go to something else. If there's anything about the internet, I apologize. But the thing is, Andrew Wilson and on whatever podcast, it's just about attacking women because they want to do things. There's like, I'm on both sides. I'm not on any one side on this.
I agree with her, honestly. I think that they should do more to make sure crazy people don't get guns. Honestly, in my opinion, I even go farther. If they're crazy...
No, we already have laws in place. Again, this is stuff that Osmongold does not. He needs to educate himself on. Is, let's see, I need to... This is the Osmongold and the others that if you're mentally ill, if you have a record, you're not supposed to have a gun. You're not. And we have tough gun laws. We have very tough gun laws. It's just that they don't, law enforcement does not like enforcing those laws because a lot of people in law enforcement also don't want people to have gun rights either. And you see how kids are taking their parents' guns. The parents are not keeping them in a safe place, locked up or whatever. But yeah, there are laws already about that. It's just, he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Crazy, they shouldn't be in society to begin with. Lock them up in a padded room. Yeah, put them in a padded room. Like, what are we talking about? Should they have a gun or not? Let's get on my level. Should they be in society or not? Put them in a box. If you can't trust somebody to have a gun because they might go out on a shooting rampage, why the fuck are they allowed to drive a car? Make asylums great again.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I mean, you can say that you're a bit crazy and stuff yourself, but no. They shouldn't have guns, but yeah. I mean, I've done videos on asylums. It's like they shouldn't be asylums. They should have mental hospitals for people. We need more mental hospital facilities. But this dumb piece of shit has no idea the abuse that goes on. And that's why they closed a lot of these asylums down. Because there was abuse. There was rape. There was murders taking place all the time, you dumb piece of shit. He pisses me off about this because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
You love to see it.
Freedom on the Second Amendment. On the First Amendment, during C-19, did you think that the government, it was appropriate for them to go in and remove what they considered misinformation for the good of the public?
Misinformation.
Yeah.
I don't have a solid opinion on that one.
Well, earlier you did, and it seemed like
you said removing misinformation, like going through and
yeah, they worked with tech companies to remove what they considered misinformation.
Well, that's not what we talked about earlier.
That's what they did.
It's different.
I know, it's not different.
It's different than we were talking about shutdowns, were we not?
Yeah, but the part of the lockdowns was that they were depersoning people because of what they considered to be misinformation.
That's
the government was
That's
working with the technocracy in order to do that for the good
This was a huge problem.
Of all people. And it's like, I guarantee you at the time, if I go back and look at whatever content you were making, if you were making content at that time, I don't know. But I can promise that whatever social media you had, you were probably very much in the we need to get rid of misinformation camp.
I don't really blame people for being in that camp personally, because if you weren't in that camp, you could get banned just for not agreeing with them. Like, I saw people, like, for example, remember whenever Nick Merckx said that he didn't like the fact that they were trying to teach kids about gay stuff in elementary school?
Yeah,
and then he got taken out of, like, Call of Duty's, like, program, and all of these other creators started attacking him, and they tried to cancel this guy however much as possible, right? And so, like, yes, blame them? Well, I don't blame people because I don't hold people to a high standard of critically thinking. I think that most people are fundamentally herd animals, and they're just going to give whatever opinion is going to be the most valid or useful at the very moment in time that they're talking about it, right? That's it.
You know, because all of you guys were. And so it's like under the First Amendment, it seems like, you know, the feminist and the progressive movement, which is basically a part of the feminist movement, does what it can do to curtail freedom there, too. And it doesn't seem like you really want there to be much personal freedom, even if people say, look, you know, I just want to live among a people group that I'm familiar with and I have a preference for and an attraction to. You're like, no, that's unacceptable. And you're a bad person for even wanting to do that. And there should be legislation that stops that. And there should be legislation which stops you from having your preferences for who you hire and fire and things like that. It's just...
I'm a fan of that, actually. I think that hiring and firing people for racial reasons can be a really big problem. I think it will be a huge problem instantaneously. And the real issue is that I think that they do it now, but that the problem really is the double standard. It's that, for example, you can have these like benefits for, you know, hiring a minority group, but if somebody does this for a person that's white...
Well, that's the thing, DEI is unconstitutional. But they get away with it if it's a white person, you know, they don't want to hire white people or white or a man or whatever. DEI is totally illegal and stuff like that.
Well, now it's a big problem. So I think that the idea of removing race-based hiring is good, but when it's applied asymmetrically, it's not a rule anymore, it's a weapon. That's it. Big problem in Canada with Indian immigrants? Yeah, if people are hiring for like some sort of nepotism reason, then yeah, it's a huge issue, absolutely.
I guess my biggest pitch to you would just be this. Like, it's really funny for me that the Christian nationalists get this rep that we're like fascist, dictatorial crazies who want to take away freedoms. And yet, every single time I talk to one of you feminists or I talk to one of you progressives, and it's basically synonymous at this point. I mean, there's no progressives really who aren't feminists. And there's no feminists really who aren't progressive.
That's true.
It just seems to me like the totalitarian nature of everything that I've seen has come from you guys. Like the C-19 lockdowns, the COVID passports, the wear your papers, that was you guys. The remove all of the information because the government doesn't like it from private websites and put pressure on them to do it, that was you guys.
This is what I always said, is that these people, you know, I say this every day, right? Is that these people don't want to not have a king. They want to be the king. They don't want to get rid of the police. They want to be the police. They don't want to, you know, get rid of social...
Well, this is the you can see it about lots. Both political sides are like this. Yeah, why she Turner? She doesn't like him. I don't like him either, but some of what he's saying is right. Some of what Andrew Wilson is saying is right. And some of what he's saying is right as well. And both sides want to censor freedom of speech. And they lobby totalitarian and how people should think. They have the right with their stupid religious BS and say you should be like this, godly, our religious beliefs. And for me, it's just like, be whatever the fuck you want to be. It's like, you know, don't tell people how they should think, how they should act all the time, unless they're hurting other people and forcing their ideas on other people. That's where you cross the line.
Media, they want to control social media. It's again, they don't really, it's not that they're not against authoritarianism, they're against another brand of authoritarianism that isn't their own. Like, that's really what's going on.
The whole idea of you need to wear your state-sponsored piece of clothing, the mask, that came from you guys. It's like all of the fascist.
Some of us were wearing masks before this COVID thing happened. If I was sick, I wore a mask and stuff. You should be wearing a mask if you're sick and stuff like that. If you need to use a mask because you have a bad immune system like I do, wear it. I think that just both sides are nowadays. I know both sides are full of radicals.
Sure. Like that doesn't come from us. That always seems to come from you guys. The people who are the fascist hunters seem to be.
No, the right has done it plenty of times as well. The right has their religious stuff and persecution of different people, etc. The right has done plenty of stuff, against whether people be gay, lesbian, or bi, or not wanting marriage, and how the right wants more women to be in the kitchen and just be bitches to men, be their bitches and stuff like that. The right is just as bad as the radical left.
The very worst at real freedom.
Here by any chance?
Well, hang on. Let me finish my pitch.
What the fuck
before
does
you
that have to do with anything?
Me questions about it, right? So, if you wanted me to give you the most convincing argument that I possibly can, it would just be this: that everything we talk about is actually you curtailing freedom, not me. And everything that we end up ultimately discussing.
We're curtailing freedom too when it comes to how you want women to just be a bitch, be their bitches and stuff like that, be in the kitchen and everything. And you don't like, porn. You're against women being in porn. And you say, people are, what's it called? Cucks. And they're not cucks. And stuff like that. And there's no such thing as a cuck. And stuff. It's not, these stupid ass looks at dumb ass like him use stuff because, you can't get all these women and stuff. And, it's about attacking the other side and calling them names and shit like that.
Seems to come down to the fact that you just want to kind of engage in degenerate behaviors. And that's the only freedom you seem to get.
I think you're a piece of shit, too. If we were saying rude, it would be a bad situation. I put it on his fucking ass.
Care about the freedom to promiscuously have
sex. That's why it never happened.
And then have an abortion to take care of that if you need to, even if it's the case that by removing.
I think you don't want the kid, just get rid of it. You call it murder, I say okay, sure, do it.
That there would be.
For me, it depends, and I believe in a woman's right to choose. But I think that if you go off and have sex all the time and you're getting abortions, you shouldn't be able to get pregnant anymore. You should get fixed. Then again, I also see being on the other side and it happened. I say those kids are lucky in some ways that they were born so they have to live in this terrible life. They have to live in this stupid, pathetic dimension that we have here. I say kids that were born in, I say if I was born in, I dodged a bullet. I say, thank God I was aborted. Thank God I was killed so I have to live this shithole with these idiots and degenerates. With all the shit that happens here on Earth, thank God I was born so I have to be around you guys.
Less unwanted babies born.
I mean, if you know my worldview of like 50 other things, you realize that I don't really place a high value on a lot of people's lives. I don't. Like, I'm talking about putting everybody in jail. Like, really, is this truly a shocking viewpoint for me to have when I'm totally in support of bombing any of the boats, bringing over the stuff. I was in support of bombing Iran. I was in support of putting people in jail categorically for being crazy. Like, really, I mean... inside of my worldview with things, I'm in support of, somebody throws a brick at the cop shoots them, I think W. I don't care. Like, this is actually very consistent with all my other beliefs.
Still think that we need to have that because, people just need to be able to fuck if they want and be promiscuous if they want and have STDs if they want. It's like, it always seems like the freedom that you guys advocate for is only a freedom towards degeneracy.
Well, it's a
self... I think you're degenerate. Well, cut yourself, you piece of shit. And, you have the right to call people degenerates because why? I can have all sex I want. I can go from woman to woman and I get tested. In the adult industry, you get tested for STDs. Your dumb asses that do whatever you want, you don't get tested. Did you get tested before you have sex with a woman? I know you didn't. And stuff like that. And they have her on here. She's not defending herself or her way of life. These podcasts are fixed. This is another thing that proves my point. Is that he's attacking her, calling her names, and say that they're degenerates. And there are degenerates on both sides. I don't like either side. And everything.
Self-referential. They just want to do what they want to do. That's it.
And never
that's what we're supposed to be able to do. Do what we want, you cut.
Actually about freedoms that are really intrinsic to the human experience.
You're forgetting red stupid. Yeah, basically.
And even more than that, I would just point this last thing out, which is, if you had a society where it was really full of more people like me, right? It was full of people who did take their religion seriously, and they took their family dynamic seriously.
On the
they took the things that
you're not religious, you dumbass. You talk shit to people, you cuss them out, you call people degenerates, you know nothing about Jesus. And religion, because the thing is, if you went by the Bible, you would be using all the language that you're using. If you're a man of Jesus, Yeshua, Jesus is not a real person, right? It's Yeshua. And he would not be doing, Yeshua loves all people. He would not be doing the pathetic BS that you're doing. And Yeshua was an ascendant. You have to go to the other side, have to go from this dimension to the next. And stuff like that. And, Yeshua, Jesus or Muhammad, whatever, is that he was more about people in enlightenment, to get away from this politics. He hated politics. He hated the other religious stuff, how corrupted different churches were and stuff like that, for making money and stuff like that, and how we all have spiritual psychic gifts, etc.
that they were doing seriously in regards to morality and ethics and how to treat people and not sacrificing the whole for the small percentage of fucking, LGBTQ people and this and that. How would the world really be a worse place? Objectively, how would the world that you live in really be worse?
I could easily come up with tons of reasons why having religious theocracy or anything that's governed by a religious ideal could be problematic. I mean, the fact is, Andrew knows this. Andrew's older than I am, right? Is that, like, the truth... this is a long video. I'm not...
smarter than this piece of shit Andrew Wilson. He's just a that don't have much up here. They're very fixed. And all they do is make the other side look stupid. And that's because they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to take questions on here. And they say, oh, we won. We made the left look stupid. And everything. No, you didn't. It's fixed. You have these shows fixed. Skewed a certain way. To where you have women and sometimes even some guys. Some were totally fixed.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll kind of address kind of what he's saying is that, like, I grew up in the era of, like, the Bush administration, you had the Iraq War, and you had the Satanic Panic. I think the truth is that right-wing and left-wing people generally want to tell other people what to do. They do. They want to tell you what to do. It just depends on who wants to say what. And that's the main problem, is that you have two different groups of authoritarians that are vying for control, whether it's McCarthyism or then back over to hippies and then drugs and then back over to, you know, the 1980s, 90s and into the 2000s family values, now into, you know, again, you know, more of the, you know, trans for everybody, right? LGBT, et cetera, stuff. And now anything is okay.
Well, both sides are full. It's too extreme on both sides. And if you want to be gay, lesbian, or whatever, that's okay. It's just where both sides are saying, you know, the other side should just be trashed and they need to be eliminated and stuff like that. And the thing is, neither side has a right to tell us how we should act. So as long as we're not forcing our views on other people, as long as we're not telling other people how they should live, as long as we're not hurting other people, nobody has the right to tell you what to do. Nobody has the right to tell you what to do, or you. You be you. That's how it should be. And you have both sides. You have Asmongold as well. You have this piece of trash out of Wilson. I hope he's easy. If he wants to get into a ring sometime, that'd be great. But anyways, man.
Okay, and everything is racist except for things that are, you know, happening to white people, which are okay. And now it's transitioning again, and now you're seeing people that are getting purity tested for being Jewish. Like, at the end of the day, we really need to accept that human beings just have this natural, like, people that seek power generally seek power because they want to use it as a weapon.
Yeah.
They want to use this power as a weapon. It's a power paradox of what happens, where you have people that are going out and they spend all of their time trying to maintain a position of power. Why are they so motivated? They're so motivated.
That's what this dumbass dick is trying to do too. He's trying to force his agenda. He's trying to force his views on other people and say other people are degenerates. Yeah, if we have OnlyFans, like I have my site as well, and I've done pornographic stuff as well. I've done adult stuff and everything, and other girls, and he talks shit about us. Well, I would go after his ass as well. I didn't go after anybody that talks shit about my people, because he's forcing his views. Him and whatever podcast, all they ever do is attack people. That's all they do. They call them names and shit on people like us.
Motivated because they're radical. They're radical and extreme, and they want to do that. So yes, correct. The only difference between them is how they deliver the control. Yes, I guess so. Continuing to misuse the word authoritarian is just going to legitimize people using it in a dumb way. Well, I guess I don't know. Like, what do you? I feel like authoritarian is like. Let's look up the definition of authoritarian. Authoritarian meaning. Let's just look this up directly. Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority. Yeah, it's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, like, I don't know really what else to say. I mean, sure. So I need to see her response. Okay.
I just don't think
this.
Really? You think about it. Everybody else, the bottom 5%.
Let's see here.
5% of the students in that school, what percentage of the problems in the school would go away? The bottom 5%.
Right.
99%. Every single problem.
Right.
There it is. There it is. Everybody knows that this is the problem. Everybody gets it. So I'm the only person that says, what about the other 95% of people that are trying to, or 80% of people that are trying to learn, trying to improve themselves, and not causing problems, that have to live in a contrived system because we refuse to discipline the bottom 5%? Really?
Well, this is the thing. Why does this idiot here, or any other political side, none of them outright to be telling us how we should live? None of them outright